What's going on, everyone? What? Yo! Yee. So, we're in New Orleans. It is the Nightmare Before Christmas weekend getaway.
It's Nolans.
It's Nolans.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Jonathan and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today we are going to be doing something a little different, but kind of the same. If you know anything about me, I have always been a big fan of horror, whether it be like horror movies or real stories of paranormal phenomena. So in this video, we are going to New Orleans. Before I get further into it, I want to give out a big shout out to my cousin Rhea and her husband Seth. Without them, I would have never done this. And one more thing, if you haven't tried my banana chips already, please go out and check them out. Link in the description below. Purchase them and tell me what you guys think. So we didn't do anything too crazy. What we did is that we just went to a ghost store. So a little bit of history about New Orleans is that it is rich with paranormal activity and history. Before it was even purchased by the Americans, it is said by the natives that the land was cursed. And the thought that New Orleans being cursed kind of still holds up today. New Orleans, being as big as a city as it is, only hovers just above 300,000 in population today. On top of that, New Orleans is full and rich of voodoo witchcraft history. There's even stores in New Orleans that have witchcraft spells, and they even have ingredients for people to buy to cast spells for themselves.
Hey guys, welcome in. Hello.
You know what I'm thinking about? Supernatural right now. Like, you know how they need ingredients to like do spells and stuff?
Thank you.
Really tickling my curiosity.
Well, we'll see a lot of that later tonight
Yes. Because like I like spooky stuff. Spooky stuff is fun. But I won't ever practice it.
too. It's just to look.
Yeah.
But not only that, there's a lot of good cultural things there too, such as their food and music. But that is not why we went. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
You can't do this in Asia because people are going to steal cups, they're going to take all the fruit, and we're over here taking all the tea.
We're taking everything. Well, we are Asian, so. Hey, yo. A kitchen that we are not going to use. An eyelid. Hey, yo. And a fantastic view of a roof. A haunted church. What's that? A tree. A haunted
tree. Can you take our picture?
A fountain.
A haunted fountain.
Haunted fountain.
It's a haunted fountain
It's Rhea.
in her natural habitat. Oh, it's haunted Rhea.
It's haunted Rhea.
They're not just beignets. They're haunted beignets.
Haunted. Everything's haunted here, apparently. It's supposed to be, right?
My farts are haunted.
Oh no. That is true. Jackson beer. What is that?
It's haunted beer.
Haunted. It's haunted beer. Voodoo beer.
Steel man.
Haunted steel. Haunted. We're in line.
Haunted line.
A haunted line. The witches are summoning the birds. Hey, look. I'm just saying. When I came back to the hotel, my bed was made. It's haunted. Haunted. Haunted.
But when you're in the cemetery, try not to lean on anything. Try to be respectful. More importantly, don't bring any souvenirs back, not even a pebble. We don't want to open up any portals or have anything fun follow you home. Take plenty of pictures, have fun, bon chance, And Lacey is your tour guide. You guys have a great time. Thank you. I'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah, Rosie told you I'm gonna be your tour guide for the next 2 hours of your lives. You're welcome.
People said that they saw things. I want to see things. You can see it's really dark. I have to put my light on.
Nice.
You bring a flashlight with you, bro?
It's a GoPro.
It's a GoPro. Trying to find them ghosts.
If you're curious on how dark it is,
Are there alligators out here?
this is how dark it is.
No way.
Can't really see.
Now, will we see them? Probably not. Yeah, also, I had one over the summer that was apparently real invested in the story out here. Because for like 3 days in a row, he'd come right here and he'd just stare us down. So I nicknamed him the judgmental alligator. So, all right, so you guys, where Lisa was actually found, right here, in this water. Now, y'all, keep in mind, the Dueling Oaks, the main house, whole other side over there. So when she was found out here, it made absolutely no sense to anybody why she would have been on this side of the property as opposed to where she was coming from and going to. Now, that being said, a lot of conspiracy theories made the rounds because, y'all, her lover did lose the duel. He was killed. So for a while, people thought that she came out here to die as well. But somebody made mention of the fact that how would she have known he didn't win the duel? She never made it to the trees. So in that respect, more questions were asked, more conspiracy theories, but nobody really knew anything concrete until a few weeks after she was found. Now at this point, somebody comes forward with some information regarding Mr. Allard, as in Lisa's father. Now this person claimed to have witnessed Mr. Allard leave the main house not long after Lisa had, said that he was gone for several hours, and when he finally did return home, he was soaking wet. So y'all, it is widely believed that he murdered his own daughter for what amounts to money and reputation. And now y'all, this man, he did not need any more money. Filthy rich, okay? So rich, in fact, he never did see the inside of a courtroom or a jail cell. No matter what evidence they ever had against him, y'all, they never charged him. So, as it still stands today, right? Money talks.
Yep.
So from there, y'all, obviously the judicial system was gonna be a massive failure. While the universe, on the other hand, was like, ooh, you don't get to get away with this. So it was little things at first going wrong out here until eventually it got so bad. They were unable to grow anything out here, could not produce anything, and Mr. Allard began to hemorrhage money. Now, when he started to lose money that quickly, he did waste no time putting this property up for sale. And it would eventually sell in 1845 to a man by the name of John McDonough, okay? Now, you may or may not be familiar with that name. It's actually on a number of the buildings in this area here, as well as a couple of roads have that name, and a cemetery on the West Bank has the name on it. Now, John McDonough, when he passed away in 1850, he left a massive sum of money to the public education system. So that is what he's most well known for, okay? And that's why a lot of these schools and things like that have his name. Now, that being said, y'all, he did purchase this property in 1845, but then he died 5 years later. He really didn't have any time to do anything with this out here. So upon his death, he left in his will for this property to go to the city of New Orleans. Told them to do something great with it. Now, y'all, they had huge plans to turn this into a park, and as you can see, they've had that come to pass, but it took quite a bit of work, because y'all, currently, this park is 1,300 acres. Now, go ahead and imagine a Central Park in New York City for me. Double that. That's the size of this park.
Is this the biggest park in the United States?
It was for a while. I don't think it is anymore, but it was for a while. So y'all, that being said, it took a lot of work to clear a lot of this out. They had to build buildings and things like that. So the heavier lifting or the bigger jobs, they hired work crews for, okay? Now, they would have them come in and handle this, but unfortunately for them, y'all, they could not seem to hold on to any of these work crews for longer than a couple of days or maybe a week at most before they would flat out refuse to come back. Now, as this kept happening, they began to get really worried that they would never have this finished. So they started to catch up to some of these groups that they had hired previously.
Whoa, Mona Lisa, charity that run this way. Whoa, Mona Lisa.
You have to like scream it, or do you just say it?
Yeah, like
Say it.
a metal band. Because maybe you said it wrong.
Alright, so if you guys are taking pictures, you're more than welcome to continue. But I'm gonna start coming around and showing you guys this picture that was captured by a tour guest.
I swear, this girl's marker.
Ah, that's bright. Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa. Yo. It's the Ghostbusters.
That was wonderful.
We believe.
Oh my God, we believe too.
Before I
We believe you. It says we believe you. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Honestly, that was perfect. I like it. I go for it.
All right, so now we're at a cemetery. We're going to get some interesting.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's rainy. I always do these when I go to San Augustine, Florida. Yeah. San Augustine's had a lot of fires over the years. They have a lot of.
Y'all just watch the puddles, okay? Be big ones.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath.
Da 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 da.
Got culture.
It said no tours allowed.
No what?
It said no tours allowed.
Well,
Alright, y'all, so the first tomb we're going to talk about tonight is this one right over here.
they bury above the ground.
Beautiful one. See right here. There's the one.
Oh, really?
Dandy flashlight out, y'all. Now we stop at this tomb not because there's anything inherently special about the tomb itself, but it's the type of tomb that it is. So mostly what you're going to see in our cemeteries is what is known as family tombs. Now they're going to be pretty much self-explanatory, right? They're for families. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the family name at the top, which in this case is the Mims family. And now on this, which is known as a closure tablet, we are putting the names and dates of anybody who's ever been interred in the tomb on there. So, as you can see, we have quite a few names here, right? So many that we ran in a room and had to put the last one right there.
Oh, wow.
Now, the last time this was used was in 1978. But y'all look, we got a fairly fresh coat of paint. It's been very well cared for, right?
Yeah.
Now, the reason for that is, if you look down here, this plaque says perpetual care. Now, perpetual care is sold to the cemetery, and what it does is it makes the cemetery in charge of the upkeep of the tomb. So, should it need a fresh coat of paint or there's a structural issue, they have to fix it. Now, let's say that you don't pay for this. That responsibility is going to fall to the family. And now, if you don't stick around here or they all die out, then you got nobody here caring for the tomb and no one's going to do it for you. So what happens is, in a lot of our older cemeteries, y'all, a lot of those tombs have been essentially abandoned. And so they're in very, very bad shape. And now, y'all, we do have organizations that raise money to go in and try to fix some of these, but we have over 45 cemeteries in this city, y'all. There's no way they'll ever be able to keep up. So because of that, they do highly recommend getting perpetual care. It is not required as of yet, but they do highly recommend it, okay? Now, when we get ready to bury the body, what we have to do is remove the closure tablet, and actually behind that is a wall of brick or something along those lines material-wise. So we're gonna get into that, which gets them actually into the interior of the upper portion of the tomb. So that's where that body initially goes, okay? So in our family tombs, we have, on average, about 2 to 3 chambers. This one has 2, so you're gonna have a shelf right in the middle there. So once they get in there, they're gonna put the body in one of those chambers, okay? And now you can put 2 bodies in there at a time to decompose if you've got that many chambers, okay? So once you get them in there, close it all back up again, leave them in there for that period of a year and a day. Now at the end of that, a cemetery worker comes out here, opens all this back up again, and inspects those remains. Who wants that job?
I do.
Really?
If it pays well.
Listen, I don't know how much they get paid, but it kind of been nearly enough, okay? But now what they're doing is they're inspecting the remains to see if they are ready to be moved. So what they want to find is nothing but bone, teeth, maybe even ash, depending on what was with the body when it was interred, okay? Now, if they find this, they're gonna go ahead and move on to the next step, which has them removing these remains, putting them in bags, okay? Now, we started way back in the day with burlap sacks. Over the years, we've adopted the use of biodegradable plastic bags. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the remains in there, we're gonna seal the bag, label it, and then take it and put it back on the shelf here. Now at that point, we're gonna use a pole. Shove the bag to the back of the tomb. Now at the rear of this tomb, there's going to be a chute. So it's going to hit that chute, go down underneath the tomb to an area that we call the caveau. So in this tomb, the caveau pretty much starts, we have the staircase here and goes to the ground. Now because of this, y'all, that then opens up the chamber for somebody else. And it goes on and on and on. And this is how we are able to put multiple people into one tomb. Now, when it comes to these burial practices, I have quite a few frequently asked questions. Okay, so I'm gonna cover those first. If y'all have any extra, please feel free to ask them. So first and foremost, I have a lot of people wonder why we didn't just cremate. Be a lot easier, right? Well, y'all, we're a Catholic city. We actually did not get permission to cremate here until 1963.
Okay.
Relatively recent development, right? Now, even after we were given that permission, you guys, for a long time, people chose not to do it because they just didn't believe in it, okay? Now, over the years, it's gotten to be more commonplace. So in that respect, we have places in the cemeteries that are specifically for cremated remains. But now back in the day, it would not have been an option. But now listen, if y'all think about it, what's that?
Hold on, what are you pointing at? A lock?
A crematorium, yes. That is exactly what that is. So y'all, that heat is what is breaking the body down, because that amount of heat for that amount of time, it is going to accelerate the decomposition process, okay? So it's technically the same thing, just a very long, drawn out process, okay? So we love to refer to these as loopholes. Because, we didn't actually have permission, but we kind of did it anyway. But now also, you guys, I have a lot of people wonder, if you embalm the body, how does that actually mess with that process? And the answer to that is tremendously. Because if you're embalming the body, you are preserving it. Won't matter how hot it gets inside of here. 366 days, not gonna do it, okay? It takes a lot longer for the body to break down, and because of that, it can cause a problem when you only have a couple of chambers in these family tombs, okay? So if you're embalming all your loved ones, you may at some point end up with somebody passing away and there's no room for them in the tomb. And now there is a backup plan for that, which I will explain in just a moment, but I do want to tell you guys that here, that does not have to be a problem. Because we are under a very old law. You'll know how old it is when I tell you the name of it. It's called Napoleonic.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that would take you way back, okay? Now, it states a lot of things, one of which is we are not required to embalm our dead here, and we don't have to have a religious reason for it. We can just simply choose not to. So if you're choosing not to, then this never becomes a problem. But let's say that you do, okay? And let's say that the unthinkable happens, and one day you're getting ready to put a loved one in the family tomb, and the one that's before it is not ready to be moved. So at that point, what you have to do is use these lovely things. Now y'all just take a look at these T90 units, right? So I've had a lot of people look at these and say, this looks like a morgue.
A morgue.
I can totally see it.
I was about to say that.
So, y'all, that being said, these were designed pretty much at the same time as the tombs, but they were designed for those who could not afford these tombs. So if you wanted to be buried above the ground but didn't have money for a family tomb, then what you could do instead is rent one of these. So when you pass away, they put your body in here initially, okay? Allow you to decompose in there, and then once that's done, they remove those remains and move you somewhere else. And that opens it up to somebody else, okay? And it's on and on and on. So we can use these, and people do when it becomes a problem, if it does, when they have to put a loved one in here. So you're just gonna put them in there for the decomposition process. That's it. Once it's done.
Did the family decide where they were being moved to?
Yes.
Okay.
If there was family. If there was no family here, then the city would decide.
So where's the Mims family now?
Okay.
Where are they now?
Oh, they're all down here.
I mean, who's paying for their tomb? Someone has to be paying for it.
So they haven't had any new burials in here since 1978. So I'm assuming that either they have a different tomb in a different cemetery, or maybe another one in this cemetery, or they are funded by somebody else.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens, okay? I don't know, but this has been very well cared for, so somebody is.
Somebody, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, someone has to be taking care of it.
Now, y'all, once the decomposition is complete for your loved one in that unit, you can remove those remains, put it in the bag, and then bring them over here, move them on down to the caveau, okay? So this is how we kind of get around that if there is an issue, okay? Now, also, if you look, we have a few of these that have been purchased, because you'll see names and dates on them. So if that's the case, that belongs to that person, okay? You can't put anybody else in there. It's not a rental unit, it's not temporary, it's theirs, okay? And now this became very, very popular because it's a lot cheaper than these tombs, which does lead me to my last most frequently asked question, y'all. A lot of people want to know how much these things cost. So nowadays, bottom of the barrel, like base pricing, where you're gonna start, is anywhere between $40,000 to $50,000.
Yeah, no, I'm never making that.
And now, listen, it goes up from there, and it's going to vary wildly depending on the size, the material, the design, even the cemetery is going to factor into your cost, okay? So I've seen them be all the way up in the multi-millions before, y'all.
No, thank you.
Oh yeah. Anybody been to Metairie Cemetery? Oh, y'all should definitely go out there. So it used to be a horse racetrack way back in the day. So it's a massive area out there. It's about 63 or 65 acres. And there's a whole section towards the front of the cemetery that they actually named the road Millionaires Row because every single one of the tombs out there were $1 million or more. So if y'all want to see some of the most intricate and ornate tombs in the entire city, that's where you're gonna find them, okay? Now also, do I have anybody who's a fan of Anne Rice? Nice, yes. All right. So y'all, she was born and raised here, okay? So when she unfortunately passed away a few years ago, she was brought home here to New Orleans and interred in her family tomb, which can be found in Metairie Cemetery. Oh. So if you would like to go and pay your respects to her, that's where you're gonna find her, all right? Now that being said, also, have any of you guys watched the TV series, not the movie, the TV series Interview with the Vampire? Yes! They filmed in this cemetery, y'all.
Oh.
So if you would like to, you know, take some pictures, see if you can kind of compare, then you can be like, I was there, you know. So, all right, now, with that being said, y'all, them being so expensive, for a while people were just like financing them, which is an awful idea, okay? Because if you ever stop paying for it, much like a home, they're gonna foreclose on it and evict you. And then they're gonna go ahead and resell the tomb right out from underneath you. So can y'all imagine that ad, gently used tomb, you know? So it's actually happened quite a few times. So people were like, no, that's not a viable option. So they were looking for something cheaper. So these were cheaper, but also we had these lovely units over here that were cheaper. So we're gonna get closer to these. I'm gonna tell y'all about those.
Spooky.
All right, so you guys, these are what are known as coping graves. They've also been referred to as coping tombs, but the most commonly called coping graves. And now these were designed by the Irish. So they were pretty much the solution to the water table issue that we have in this city. Now it does go below the ground, but only about 3 to 4 feet. And in this city, that is pretty much your sweet spot, okay? You go much further than that into the ground, you do run a high risk of hitting damp earth or straight water. Now let's say it rains really heavy or it floods. That's going to add to what is already there, which is in turn going to push those remains up. And they will eventually break the surface. So if you heard stories during the flooding of Katrina that we had caskets and bodies floating down the street, we did. Because we do have traditional below the ground 6 feet burial in this city. Now, is it advised? Absolutely not, okay? But we have it, so if you choose to do it, you just have to know that you're taking the risk of this happening into your own hands. You can't come back later and sue somebody if it does, okay? Now, that being said, you wouldn't have to worry about that with this one, because it's that 3 to 4 feet. It's also encased all the way around, so it gives you a little bit more added protection there. Now, on the top here, we have, on average, about 2 to 3 feet. So giving you a depth of about 6 to 7 feet. All right, you guys, so as we're kind of moving on in, I do need to tell you a little more about the cemetery before we go in to the memorial and a couple of comments more about that. So y'all, this cemetery, they do estimate the years it was active. Anywhere between 80 to 120,000 people were buried below the ground out here. Now this is not the entirety of the cemetery. Okay? If you look to the corner back here, you see all these kind of trees and bushes back there. That is covering of the fence. Now that fence is separating this portion of the cemetery from the rest of it. It goes almost a mile back there, okay? So the bulk of our burial is going to be located. As a matter of fact, look at that ground, y'all. See how lumpy that looks? Yeah, this shows you live and in person why it's an awful idea to bury 6 feet below the ground in this city. Because as those remains rise, it's going to push the soil up with it, right? Look. Now, as it's coming up, it's also pulling down. So we have areas that are sinking out here. Now, this makes the ground very, very unstable. We do not need any help with y'all. We pretty much have that covered on our own, alright? But this is also, interestingly enough, one of those mass burial sites. So they dug a very large hole and threw a whole lot of bodies in. Okay, and this right here is the consequence for it. So, this back to the fence here, y'all, that's worse than it was 6 months ago. So this is going to be a problem, and probably very soon, okay? But the reality is there's nothing we can do about it until it becomes that problem. We have to let it break the surface before we can put it back, right? So let's hope that doesn't happen on my tour or whatnot. That'd be weird.
That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty cool, though.
So we're going to head on to the memorial, and we can point out the 112 right?
I need to capture something. We need to go alone is what it needs to be. Turn off the lights. Nothing here. There's nothing written on it.
Memorial, they did design it to be in the shape of a hurricane. So the circular area here in the middle, this is meant to be the eye of the hurricane. The walkway that we came up on, the one that goes behind us over here, as well as our mausoleum, so we have on either side. These are meant to represent the outer bands. Now y'all, when it comes to Hurricane Katrina, honestly, I don't think there's ever going to be quite enough room.
Trying to see if something will pop up. Dude, my battery is draining so fast. It shouldn't be.
These levees, the flood wall, were already very weak because they had.
In the video, it looks like it's daytime.
That is quite literally a reference exactly. So by the time it was all said and done, y'all, we had so many breaches that over 80% of this city was underwater. And y'all, in some areas, they saw anywhere between 10 to 15 feet of it. So y'all just imagine for a moment that you're in one of these harder hit areas where they had the most water. And now you may be watching this floodwater rise and thinking to yourself, I should probably get to higher ground. You may even think the attic of your home, maybe even the roof, is going to be sufficient because at some point, it's going to stop rising, right? So some of those who went to the attic of their home, y'all, they got stuck in there and they drowned. This monument here tells you we lost over 1,100 citizens. But I've actually heard that number very widely depending on who you talk to. Had somebody just recently claim that they observed upwards of 3,000 body bags. What I can tell you with 100% certainty, y'all, is that we will never have a definite number. We will never know exactly how many. Now, with that being said, because of the fact that this was already kind of regarded as a gathering place by those who worked at Charity Hospital, when they did finally count all the floodwater out, it just didn't touch over 2005 for all this floodwater. August 29th. Took that whole time to get all the floodwater. Now, once they did deem it safe to re-enter, they started to allow people to kind of slowly trickle back in. And now, as they did, people who got good news, bad news, especially no news, would find their way out here. And then what they would do is they'd pay their respects, they would pray, they'd meditate, whatever they think they need to do is what they would do at that point. Now, as more and more of these people came out here, many of them started to talk about seeing a man. Now, what's interesting about this is, y'all, they described this man exactly the same. Said he was an elderly gentleman that had stark white hair. And now they also said that he was wearing a blue denim shirt. Now, they said this man would approach them and call them by their name, which struck them as odd because they didn't know him. But he would not stop there, y'all. He would go on to tell them things he could not possibly do. One of our former tour guides actually does believe that this man is the reason why she was able to find her grandmother. Because when Katrina hit, y'all, she was actually out of the state. So she was displaced until it was deemed safe to re-enter. Her grandmother, though, she was 85 at the time of Katrina, and she was unable to evacuate. So she was stuck here for the storm. Now, once the tour guide made it back in the city, obviously her number one goal was to find her grandmother, right? Went everywhere she could think of, y'all. Nobody had seen or heard from her since before the storm. So she ends up out here as well, but not really as a way to pay her respects, but because her grandmother worked at Charity Hospital until she was 71 years old. So she brought her out here quite a bit growing up. So she came out here as more like a last-ditch effort to feel close to her grandmother. Now, y'all, she said she was out here for less than 10 minutes when this same man, that she described exactly the same as everybody else had, approached her, called her by her name, but also called her grandmother by her name. Said he knew her, that he had worked with her at Charity Hospital and he knew where she was. He even went so far as to give her an address. Y'all, at this point, she's thinking either the man's completely insane or he's playing some really awful, cruel joke. But also, kind of in the back of her mind, she's thinking, you know, I got nothing left to lose. I checked everywhere else. So she does decide to go to this address, fully expecting to find nothing there. But what she finds instead, you guys, is a warehouse. And once she's given access into this warehouse less than an hour later, she had claimed her grandmother's body. Now this was one of many areas where they were holding remains that had not been claimed yet. Now y'all, once her shock and her devastation started to kind of wear off a bit, she did begin to wonder how in the world this man knew which one. So she puts her story in with everybody else's, and now y'all, there's been so many mentions of this man that many people are wanting to know who it is. So they actually come across a picture in City Hall of a group of men all in this blue denim shirt that they described this man being in. And now, when they find it, they're like, oh, this is it. We can have these people come in and take a look at the picture. And if they see him, they can point him out. So they contacted these people who claimed to see him out here, and those that came in, every single one of them pointed out the exact same man. And now, when they did, they were told that that was Mr. Sims, and that Mr. Sims was a mechanical maintenance worker for the city of New Orleans as well as Charity Hospital. So this did answer some questions, but it also brought up quite a few more. So some people were talking about maybe finding him, thanking him, but also asking him how in the world he knew any of this, when they were all told that they would be unable to do that. Because Mr. Sims died in 1974, y'all. He died in Charity Hospital. And now it was found out later one of the last nurses to care for him was that former tour guide's grandmother. So for her, it quite literally comes full circle. Now that being said, y'all, as much as I would love to stand here and tell you that I have a story, well not a story, but a picture of Mr. Sims for you, I don't. We've had some very interesting pictures on that front, but nothing that I could say with any amount of certainty is Mr. Sims. But have no fear, y'all, I do have one to show you, okay? Now this one, when it was taken, is important to note, because y'all, they did about 2 years ago. They came out here and they put new remains in the hospitals. Now these new remains came from a spot that they were putting a bus terminal out not too far from here. Realized they were putting it over a long abandoned cemetery. So they had to excavate those remains and send them off to be identified as much as they could be. Now once that was done, they did release the remains to be reinterred, but unfortunately, y'all, they had nowhere to put them. So at this point, the people who were in charge of the memorial came forward and were like, hey look, we got room in these mausoleums. So they allowed them to put the bodies in here. So they were out here earlier in the day putting new bodies in here. We were out here later on a tour. And my tour guide, she took 2 pictures, one right after the other. First picture, absolutely nothing in. The second one is what you're about to see. And now, y'all, this appears to be a woman facing away from us with her arms crossed in front of her. But she has no bottom half of her body. She has no legs. And now this is the clearest picture I've ever seen. And that is counting the 2 years that I spent in a ghost hunting group, okay? So if you look right here, you see her head and her torso.
Oh.
But see, we've got no bottom to her body, and now what you're seeing is this right over here.
Yeah, it's like right.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to sit. So she's just kind of hovering, you know. So there's her head and her torso. And so we got no legs.
It's a big lady.
Right here, over where these bushes are. Yeah, absolutely.
We gotta go sleep. That's probably the best picture I've seen too.
Right, now we stopped at a hunter's attraction. Let's go.
Come on, guys.
But I'm young, might as well destroy him now.
Dude, I don't know why my battery is draining so freaking fast.
So these actually were used for religious purposes back in the day. They are now event space. So they had a party going on out here, I think last night. Yeah, right next to the cemetery. All right, so y'all, this is Gates of Prayer Cemetery. It is a Jewish cemetery, so you're gonna see a lot of those coping graves that you saw in the Masonic cemetery. Now, we cannot go inside of this one because at the time that we were, which we actually were able to when we first started doing this tour a little over 6 years ago, the guy who was in charge of the cemetery at that time, he's the one who gave us the permission, okay? So we were able to go in here. Now this was a pretty much favorite stop for a lot of our tour guests. It's very creepy, okay? Now, unfortunately, this man who was in charge of the cemetery who gave us that permission, y'all, he passed away behind the cemetery. Yeah, they said he died of an aneurysm. He was like mid-sentence and dropped. Now, once he passed away, the woman that took over to be in charge of the cemetery from him, one of the very first things she did was put a stop to the ghost tours coming out here. Yeah. So we honestly, she gave us the reason that it was not safe in low light, which now listen, I'll give her that, okay? This floods very easily out here. So that means a lot of the graves and the walkways are very damaged, okay? So it is kind of unsafe, but we often wonder if there was more to it than that, y'all. Because this man died not long after we had a very intense experience had by one of our tour guests in this cemetery, which is the reason why I still make this stop here. Even though we cannot go inside, I like to be able to tell you guys what happened to her and show you the picture that came from it right in front of where it actually happened, okay? Now, the night that all this went down, you guys, we went into the gate right here, and from the moment we stepped inside, a woman on the tour immediately started to complain that she could not breathe. Now, she said that it felt like somebody was sitting on her chest, which, y'all, that's not good medically, okay? We're thinking, oh my God, she's having a heart attack, okay? Just trying to get her to leave the cemetery, thinking we're gonna have to call an ambulance. But we tried to get her to leave, and she flat out refused. Said every time she went to move, she felt like somebody was right behind her. She actually used the phrase, it felt like somebody was stalking her. Now, y'all, we did eventually talk her into leaving the cemetery. And as we did, she came out, headed down towards the building. And now she walked a little bit further down, probably right where we have this bit of the fence kind of coming out a bit. So as she was walking along the fence, she said she could still feel whatever it was trailing beside her. So she decided to stop in front of the gate, turn around, and grab a selfie to see if she could catch what was behind her.
No way.
So y'all, I've had a lot of people look at this picture and tell me that this is the most disturbing one on the entire tour. I will let y'all be the judge of that one, okay? So you see her face look behind her.
No way.
That's creepy.
Right there behind her.
Yeah, that's pretty creepy. That's creepy.
Yeah, she's right here on the side.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you see her shadow, and then there's like a little face right there.
Yeah, and if you look here, this is behind the gate.
Yeah.
It's not even going across the bars.
Yeah,
So that's definitely not going to be her shadow. But yeah, right here behind her.
Guess we need to take selfies.
I mean, maybe.
Look,
Alright, so here's her face look behind her.
You guys, right the moment she was telling that story, that showed up. That's crazy.
Right here. Right there. Yeah.
Hey, yo, if you want to show up, you know what I'm saying? Bruh.
I'm glad we're not in the same hotel room.
We're gonna get one.
No, you're freaking creepy.
Huh?
Not you.
Oh.
He's too scared to follow us.
But first, let me take a selfie.
Let me take a selfie. You know what? Why not? Why not? Why not I take a selfie? But, of course, I get nothing because that's just my luck.
Alright, so
That's just how it works.
I don't know if you can tell by looking at this, but this is behind the gate. It's not a shadow. So it's down hollow. Alright? So let's get there. Y'all right from here to the cemetery, we're gonna head down here. Y'all right here to the building.
You do not have the permission to follow me.
Last stop.
It's wild, dude.
That is pretty crazy. She felt that something was there, and she was right. And the crazy thing was that the necrometer
It said look back.
literally said the same exact thing. So it's almost as if like that, whatever that was right there, actually listening to us and listening to our tour guide talk about the story. That's creepy.
Unfortunately not. They're not open.
Not anymore?
No, they are. They're open, but only open during the Halloween season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Halloween is second only to Mardi Gras here. Halloween is my favorite holiday. Like for real. I have.
There it
Everybody
is.
says spooky season. I'm spooky year round. Okay. So y'all, this is the mortuary, and now I have a lot of people see this, see the cemetery next door, and think that the two are connected. They're not, and they never were. Y'all, this was originally built to be a family home in 1872. Yeah. This cemetery, y'all know it was founded in the 1850s. Go ahead and do the math there. Yep, chose to have their family home built next to a cemetery.
Oh,
The original family was the Slattery family. It was Mary John. They had 5 children. Now they moved in here, lived in the home for a couple of years. You know, one of the last big run-ins with yellow fever this city saw, they lost 4 of their 5 children. Yeah. And now it happened within days of each other inside this building. So as y'all can imagine, they could no longer stand to live in it, okay? Now I'm gonna tell you more about that on the bus. Y'all take a few minutes, grab some pictures, and when you're ready, go ahead and hop back up on the bus.
crazy. Dude, my battery drains so quick. It's at like 5% now. I've barely been filming for 7 minutes. What the heck? What the heck? That's so weird.
Your battery just drained?
It drained from like 40 to 5%.
Oh, what the heck?
I'm not kidding. It's at 5% right now. And this is a fresh
Did
battery.
that happen in front of the cemetery or
That was when...
Over here, this whole thing.
that cemetery thing? You tell me.
Well, you were talking.
So we cannot go inside. But
No.
y'all hop out and grab some pictures.
They gotta be
Charity
hiding something
Hospital.
there. 24-hour security.
I'm gonna go inside that.
Who are they securing?
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
There goes.
There's gotta be something.
Our 15th birthday.
I'm just saying. That sounds like a government operation to me. They're doing something.
You already know.
Yeah, I need the military ID to get in.
All right, I got a plan. Key to the city, easy. This is a hospital.
Exactly.
Charity
How high was the
Hospital.
water here?
So
when-
it
with
went
Katrina?
kind of right where you have the windows right there. So it went right about right there. Okay, just right underneath it. So.
Actually a nice building.
Yeah.
Are they gonna do something with it?
So y'all.
Dude, I want to go in so bad. I want to go in so bad.
But there's been mention of it turning into a research facility as well as office space for my personal favorite, luxury apartments.
Dude, I want to go in so bad.
In fact, if you turn this into luxury apartments, the only thing I can tell those people is good luck to you. Okay?
I'd say we jump the fence. I'm serious. If you're in it with me, I'll do it. Oh, look, it looks like there's a corner over there. Like some people actually have tried getting in.
All the way to over there is going to be Charity Hospital that goes back.
Like behind the fence corner. Yeah.
Then we have Tulane over there, and the VA hospital's not too far from here either. So this is like not the medical district. I know, I would kill. And I think one day they're probably going to allow somebody to go in it because they're having this very expensive place. It's better to make money than pay more than that. You know? So we'll see what happens. But, this is built in 1935.
Yo,
So,
Charity
it's a very old building.
Hospital.
Also, currently,
They
y'all,
won't let us get in here.
2,700 rooms in this hospital. Yeah. Don't know how many of those are patient rooms, but 2,700 rooms. And a basement. Or what we call a basement. We don't really have basements because of the water table issue. So, all right, so you guys, does this or does this not look like a stepped right out of a horror film?
Yes.
So
Oh.
it actually was featured in a recent horror film. Anybody familiar with Renfield? No?
Dude, I want to go in.
Nicolas Cage as Dracula. Listen,
Oh.
it is unhinged and fantastic. Okay, so definitely well worth a watch. So they did film a bit in here for the movie where Dracula's lair was inside Charity Hospital. Also, there was a scene where they kind of panned into the building outside here. So if you do watch it, you'll recognize it. Okay. So no, you're ready to go ahead and hop back up on the bus. If you have any questions, let me know.
Well, I know what I'm doing when no one's watching or not around.
You gotta go ahead.
Hold her down, hold her down.
There are like literal YouTube videos
You know, I bet.
of them.
I can see there's like an entrance point. People probably jumped that fence right there.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
People got really creative.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching till the end. If you find these videos interesting or would like to see us do an actual investigation, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more. Doing so lets me know that you're enjoying my content and allows me to figure out what exactly I need to do for my next videos. And guys, please go ahead and check out my product down in the description below, Isabel's Kitchen Banana Chips. They are absolutely awesome, I promise you. So go ahead and also leave a follow to Sparrow TV. That is my cousin Rhea. She streams on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and also uploads some of the best moments in her Twitch streams on YouTube. Once in a while, you might also catch me on her stream, so definitely leave her a follow and stay tuned to her channel to see if I'm there. But anyway, guys, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'll see you later.